opportunity for Charlotte off the set piece. It is going to be the man out of Poland. The shot, yes!
And it's gone in. It's an Olympico. Shiki pulls it back. The shot and another goal.
And look who's coming on. Ryan Romero. Here's Romero. Hit the shot, kid.
Goal!
For the city, for the crown.
And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Offsides Podcast, the unofficial official podcast of Charlotte Football Club. I'm your host, Andres Robledo. The sleep deprivation is getting to me. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host and brother, Pablo Robledo. Pablo, how's it going?
Pretty good. How's the first month with the newborn?
Oh, the 2 to 3 hours of sleep is starting to catch up and wear. I was fine the first couple weeks, but this last week I've been tired, operating at like 30 to 40%.
Yeah, that's gonna be your new normal. So.
Yeah, that's actually, we were talking about that today. The wife and I have like, wow, we are just always gonna be tired now.
Pretty much. Mm-hmm. Learn to nap whenever you can.
Yeah, every time I try to take a nap, something comes up. I was actually trying to take a nap before we recorded, and little peek behind the curtain. It's kind of late at night, Monday. Today's Monday, right? Monday night. And the neighborhood behind me is doing fireworks, and I've got 2 dogs, one of which does not like the fireworks and was barking, so no nap.
Time to put him down.
Yeah. Need to get a basset hound again. I don't remember him minding fireworks. But anyways, we took a week off with the little break that MLS had there, or at least Charlotte FC had a break. I think everyone else is kind of catching up on matches played. So we didn't have any matches this past week. We did have 2 matches that we're going to cover, 2 ties against New York Red Bulls and Montreal. And then we got some news and stuff to go into, and then a preview of what's going to be tomorrow's match when you're listening to this against New York City FC. So let's just jump straight into it with a little bit of early transfer news, hopefully just the beginning of it. But Charlotte FC have signed midfielder Scott Arfield. Hopefully that's actually how you pronounce it. I know we're super bad with last names. But got him from, I think, technically a free agency from Rangers FC in the Scottish Premiership. What do you think of the signing, Pablo?
Well, I looked at his age first, and I thought he was a little on the older side, but what's his name? Maram has totally changed my mind on when we sign older players. I think he's going to be a good seasoned addition to the squad that desperately needs it in the midfield. We'll see how soon he starts playing and if he has like an immediate impact as our last signing did. So I have probably, just like everybody else, very high hopes for this guy. I still want to, with the transfer window getting ready to open, I still think we need to beef up our defensive line a lot more than we are now. But I'm glad they're making early moves instead of like waiting till the last minute. Yeah.
That seems to be kind of the consensus in the Charlotte community online, at least, of this signing. Pretty much exactly what you said. Like, people were a little bit worried about his age, but then brought up the Miram, however, again, super bad at the last names. Apologize, but
number 22.
Yeah. But a lot of people kind of brought him up, right? Of like, well, he's been one of the most impactful players so far. So, maybe age isn't going to be that big of an issue. Westwood's also, on the other side of 30. I think he's 32, 31. And he's been playing pretty well as well. And then to your second point, like, a lot of people were surprised that we're adding in another midfielder because, something you said, you kind of felt like maybe the midfield needed a little bit of boost. I kind of feel like the opposite, of where we're actually pretty set in midfield, especially now with Ben Bender playing better. Derek Jones has really been playing very, very well. Westwood healthy. Swiderski's been able to slide in that midfield. So to me, it kind of felt like that was the one spot on the field that we were set at. It was the other two sides of the ball, or the other two sides of the midfield that I felt like needed more of a boost, especially the defensive side. So, like you said, good to see them making early moves, especially compared to last year. But hopefully they focus on that back line. I know Latanzio has mentioned that a couple of times in press conferences that he has talked to the front office and said he needs about 3 players to really boost the squad. So I imagine those are going to be some defenders.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of these games that we've been either tying or just losing, especially just going back to the Red Bulls game, where we were just dominating them for a good while, and then our defense just started breaking down. I feel like defensive players, or especially new ones, are gonna help boost that up. Looking at some of the player highlights for this new signing, the Scott Arfield, he seems very solid, very strong. Looking at his track record, he's won a couple of cups over there in that, I want to say it's the Scottish League.
Yeah, Scottish Premiership.
He seems very, physical. He's kind of for a midfielder, for a soccer player, he's kind of bulky a little bit. So hopefully, hopefully he brings that physical strength. I'm trying to picture where he's going to end up on the lineup. If anything, I would think he takes, maybe Bronico's spot. How Bronico kind of plays a little bit towards the offensive side instead of defensive.
That's exactly where I picture him as well. Kind of where we've seen Bender slot in. Swiderski's played in that same spot a couple times, right next to Westwood, basically, and in front of Jones. I think that's exactly where he's going to slide in. Because, like you said, looking at his highlights and stuff, it looks like he's a guy that can get forward and move the ball well and even score a couple goals. I think last year he scored against Liverpool in the Champions League, so he's definitely still playing at that highest level. So totally agree with you there. I think that's probably where we'll see him end up being. But you know what? With Latanzio, you never know. He might end up playing left back or right back. We'll see.
Left back might not be too bad of an option.
Yeah, let's throw another 34,
that's another one
there.
that's like a black hole of a position for us to fill right now. It's like whoever we put in there just seems to either get hurt or not work out at all.
Yeah, no one's really stood out there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we desperately need a left back. I don't know. We just signed Byrne. I feel like we need a replacement for him already.
I think Lindsay's been doing a pretty good job at that. He's had some pretty good games lately.
Yeah, but not super impressed with Byrne there. But
yeah, I don't think anyone's going to argue with that.
Yeah, especially I think after that first Red Bull goal, it was just like, man, that was your guy. Like you had one guy you were covering. So I don't know. But hopefully this guy doesn't completely take over Bender's spot either, because I feel like anytime Bender gets in a groove, they bring somebody in and then they just sub Bender again.
Yeah. That's kind of my whole point on the midfield thing. It's that's already such a tight area that we've got players like Bender who are having trouble getting into the starting lineup because of how tight it is right now when everyone's healthy, at least. But yeah, we'll see. We'll have to see how it goes. On top of the transfer news, not really a transfer, but Corujo has pretty much made his comeback now. He started in the game against New York, and we can talk more about that, I guess, during the actual recap of the game. But good to see him back in. With him coming back, and again, we'll get more into it when we actually cover the Red Bull game. But do you feel like maybe, because a lot of people were kind of clamoring for an additional center back signing, do you feel like the team still needs another center back, or now with him being back and with Tulioma and Malanda, do you feel like we're kind of set at center back?
When we first signed Tulioma, I thought he was gonna be, and I'm still like 50-50 in some of his past performances, but I thought him and Carujo were good. We're gonna be a good fit. Two solid guys in that middle.
Mm-hmm.
But Tulioma's kind of the one that worries me more now.
Mm-hmm.
They keep throwing like Jones in that lineup.
Yeah.
Who else have they put in there? I mean, Melanda's not too bad. He still have some learning to pick up on from those guys. But I thought Tulioma and Carujo were gonna be the main ones. But they keep switching it up, and I don't know if they're just trying to find like a good formula for those two.
Yeah. And I forgot to mention Sobozinski as well.
Right.
So
Yes, and I
another
think
center back.
Zobosinski has been doing a little better than Tulioma. Not much, but just enough to like maybe give him more minutes.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. So what do you think?
Would you be
you think they're going to hit the transfer market for another one, or does the team feel set there, good enough there?
No, I think they'll probably hit for another one, because that's also like where we have a lot of our injuries come this past season.
Yeah.
We've had Melanda go out for a couple of matches. We had Mora go out pretty much. I think the rest of the season. Who else have we lost for a while? I think we lost Lindsay for a little bit. Trying to think of who else off the top of my head. Oh, Tulioma, obviously he was out for a while.
Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's like that's where we seem to pick up a lot of our injuries. So I'm not sure if just bringing in more defensive guys would help that, or if we beef up the midfield to where they can't get down that far, it would help that problem. We'll have only time can tell, I could say.
Mm-hmm. Agree with that. No, it's a good assessment of the situation. And again, transfer window officially opens July 5th, so when you're listening to this tomorrow, hopefully we'll be able to bring you some more news next week. But other than that, no other real transfer news to talk about, at least when it comes to CLTFC. If you're an Inter Miami fan, you've got some exciting stuff coming. It seems like every 34-year-old player that used to play with Messi is linked to Miami right now.
Yeah, including who is it? Even their new head coach is from Argentina, Tata.
He used to coach the Argentinian team, I believe.
Yeah.
And
so it's like
they signed Sergio Busquets as well.
Yeah.
Putting the band back together, man. They
tour.
They should get Eto out of retirement, bring him back.
Yeah.
Puyol, get him back in there. Just bring Victor Valdez, get him back in goal. Just bringing back that old 2012 Barcelona team.
Jeez.
That'd
be so expensive.
Yeah, ticket prices would definitely go up.
Yeah.
You think if you brought back all those guys right now in their current age and shape, they'd win? They'd win games at least, or how do you think? Or do you think they're too old?
They probably do better than what Miami's doing now.
Yeah, can't get worse, right?
True, yeah. They have like more patience on distributing the ball until they found like the open end that they needed.
Yeah. Speaking of and we didn't have this on the agenda, it just kind of popped up to me, but Gareth Bale had an interview I think last week about his time in MLS and what he thought about, Messi coming and how it was different, and he had some interesting things to say about the MLS. One thing that I thought was really interesting was, losing isn't that big of a deal here because there is no what's it called? Regulation. So you're not going to get dropped down or anything. So there's kind of like zero consequence to losing. What do you think of those comments by him?
I agree. It's like, especially for like if it was Miami right now, Messi wouldn't be going to them, if because they'd be, what do you call it?
Regulated.
Yeah, regulated. They would be getting regulated to like a lower division. I'm not sure what ours is over here. What's lower than the MLS?
USL Championship.
The USL.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But as far as and I think a lot of the main controversy, or not controversy, but I guess the problem that people see where the MLS wouldn't function with promotion and relegation is the size of the clubs and the money. But I mean, other countries do it. We see it in the English Premier League now, where like some of these teams that have like a very small stadium are getting ready to get promoted, and they're trying to figure out like what to do. But as far as like when you get promoted, a lot of those teams don't stay promoted more than like a year or two, and then they get back down.
Typically,
but it's still like it's the excitement of it. There's just that gamble.
Yeah.
So I think it would be a lot better for MLS, because it's like he's totally right. Like Gareth Bale is totally right. It doesn't matter too much if you lose or not, or like if you end up in last place.
So you feel like even just the whole playoff system isn't enough of a, like, I guess missing out on playoffs isn't quite the same as getting regulated, so it's not the same level of consequence, right, of dropping games.
Right, yeah, I still don't think so, because, you make playoffs, let's say you're in the 8th or 9th spot, you make the playoffs, chances of you going to the final are very low. Yeah, you're in the playoffs, but you might play like 1 or 2 more games, most likely.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody knows right now, it's probably going to be the top 3 or 4 teams that make it to the final. But then again, I haven't been watching MLS that long, so.
Yeah, same. There's definitely a lot of parity in the league, which is nice compared to, some of the other top leagues, like English Premier League, where, Man City is winning it all the time, or things like that. So,
but not all the time, just recently.
The last 10 years. And then they win pretty much every game. I mean, even Arsenal this year went on a crazy run of pretty much winning every game and stuff. Back when we first started watching Premier League, it was Man United and Chelsea were that way. You had Liverpool every now and then would be that way. I mean, Liverpool's another team that before this season was kind of that way. So that's been the one interesting difference between MLS and these other big European leagues. But I do wonder if maybe it is because there is no big consequences if you lose. So maybe that's why there's more parity. I mean, it also has to do with a lot of the salary cap rules and all that stuff, and how you have to construct rosters.
No, yeah, I agree. It's let's say if a small team gets promoted, then they have a very short window to work with, where they have more funds available, but to try to get some big players over to just survive the next level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know how feasible that is, especially over here.
No, I don't think we'll
where
ever see
the pool
it here.
of players seems to be just very small.
I don't think we'll see it here just because it is a franchise system, and these owners have had to pay so much money that, I don't know the exact numbers of a team's revenue whenever they get dropped from Premier League to Championship, but I do know that a lot of teams will typically, in the contracts of players, have a what is it called? I guess a cause or just a thing in their contracts that say, if we get regulated, your salary drops by 50% or something. So just based off that, I would assume revenue and like media right money and all that stuff goes down like around that much, maybe even a little bit more. So if you paid $350 million for a team and then the next year they get dropped and your team's value drops to like 175, I don't think that's a gamble any owner would take in MLS right now,
Right.
or probably ever.
No, yeah, it's definitely, and I don't know if it's also because like the U.S. is so big and there's so few teams, and just like you said, it's just basically pay to play. Going back to the U.S. being so big, like the travel, it would get so expensive. I don't know.
Yeah, too complex.
I don't think the MLS will ever do it. But we've seen where it can be done.
Yeah.
Like, look at Wrexham. They got bought out. They got money heavily invested in that club, and where are they at now? Like, I think they're getting ready to go into the Champions League.
No.
Or one right below it.
No, they're like in the 4th league.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought they were a little higher than that.
No, I think they just won Nations League, which is like the 5th division, so they're now in the 4th. So they've still got a little ways to go.
Wow.
It's the way the media covers it. It seemed like they were like right there.
Okay, yeah, Football League 2. Yeah.
Yeah, so they got Football League 2, Football League 1, Championship. I might even be missing something in between there, and then Premier League, but I think that's how it goes. A little ways to go.
They just went, they won the National League, and they're going to Football League 2.
Yes, if people haven't looked into that, just go looking at how many leagues there are in England, and just you kind of see why it wouldn't work here in the U.S. Really, too much infrastructure has to be built that has been built over there over hundreds of years.
Yeah, yeah, it would just kind of like dilute it over here way too much.
Yeah.
Just way too much. Because, honestly, like, in the end, this is all about, like, selling tickets and selling jerseys and...
it's an entertainment,
coverage.
thing more than anything else.
Yeah, and contracts.
Which is why I think they should bring back the old school PKs where you run at them and then maybe even do that goalie war things where goalies, like, 1v1 each other.
Yeah, goalie wars would be nice to see.
Maybe instead of PKs, that's how a game should end. All right, moving on. So the league is doing, I guess, a Marvel collaboration with, or the entire league is doing a Charlotte FC. I think everyone released their new Captain America themed jerseys.
So lame.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get into it. What'd you think of it? I know I can get into it from the greater community perspective afterwards as well.
Well, I didn't see what like anybody else had really thought about the jersey, but when I saw it was like the Captain America one, I was like, okay, like I guess we'll get Captain America. Then I started looking around to see what other clubs might have had, and it's like, so everybody basically has from what I can tell, the Captain America design, but they just throw their logo on there, and it's like,
yeah,
it's just so basic.
Yeah. Nice, easy copy paste.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a money grabbing scheme.
Yeah.
You and I kind of talked about this this past weekend, where it was like, this is also another reason why we don't particularly like MLS, because it's just like Adidas only, and it's just the Adidas money grabbing machine, where it's, other leagues, they have not only Adidas and Nike, but they have Puma, they have Umbro, they got just smaller sponsors.
Yeah.
And the designs that come out of that it's just neat to see.
It's
like,
all unique to the teams too. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Even
yeah,
just to jump in real quick, like even two teams that are sponsored by Nike, their jerseys are different. Well, like,
yeah,
pretty much everyone's jersey is kind of like the same. Like even warm-up gear and stuff, like just all that's all different.
Yep.
And, it's all the same here, just a different team logo.
Yeah, it's the same warm up, just different color schemes, same goalie jerseys. Like it's just
Yeah,
it's
that really sucks.
yeah, it stinks.
I don't know
so
why
bad.
that sucks, but like because I'm not a goalie, so I really don't care, and I've never bought
Well,
a goalie's
sometimes goalie
jersey.
jerseys can be like really cool,
Yeah,
but it's like if everybody just has the same one, then it's
like
like
the same
what's the
three.
what's the
Yeah,
point of even doing a jersey swap?
yeah.
Um,
And
but like some other teams, they'll bring back like classic kits or
I was gonna
a
say,
retro.
yeah,
Yeah,
stuff like that's pretty cool. It'd be hard for Charlotte to do that, right? Maybe
yeah,
next year.
but let's say like 20, 30 years from now, you're bringing back a classic kit, but it's another team has the same style, just a different color scheme. It's like
I'm
what's the
sure that'll
point?
happen in like 10 years. Every team will bring back their classic kit, and it's all going to be the same thing because everyone's kit's pretty much the same.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the on the field players aren't all the same, but it's
Yeah.
it's very similar.
Yeah.
Um,
I had
but yeah, no,
someone.
I'm definitely not gonna be buying that Captain America jersey.
No, even just the design I thought was pretty lame. Like it's just his shield, copy and pasted
Yeah,
all over it. I thought you could have done something
yeah,
way more interesting. Like just maybe even like have it kind of be like his costume, and you can make the jersey kind of look like that. I think that would be more interesting, or involve
honestly,
like your logo into it a bit more,
yeah,
or choose something completely different.
yeah. I don't know. Put the city background in there somewhere. Or just like if you're first, I don't even know why they're doing the Marvel thing. Like
Marvel's
everybody's
hot,
just
man.
yeah, I guess so. Like it doesn't even make sense at all. Like they're
Yeah, I thought
not
like
in any way associated with soccer.
Captain America probably hates soccer.
Yeah, he's just like that's not America's sport.
He's all about boxing.
Yeah, boxing and baseball and
Yeah, exactly. He'd be a baseball
spitting.
fan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. See, that makes more sense. The Captain America with baseball. I don't know who ours would be or who soccer would be. Maybe like the Hulk.
Well, the Hulk doesn't care about soccer.
He lived in Brazil.
Oh,
For a
that's
little while.
true. Uh,
I don't know if that's canon or not.
I think it is. I think that's canon. It's a canon event. The other thing too, it's like, you could also just go more comic book focus, like kind of do some comic book art or like font, and like there's just so much other stuff they could
Yeah,
have done. But
yeah.
like just taking the shield and just copy and pasting it everywhere was just like,
Yeah, they're
all
like,
right.
yep, good enough. All right. Print it.
I saw some people being like, the ball's cool. The ball is just like the shield on like 3 sides. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
the same thing.
And then they're giving out the challenge coin, which is
That is kinda
everyone's
sick.
gonna have. I haven't seen it, but
It's
I was
pretty
just
basic
like,
also.
that's.
It's the
I figured it was.
It's like Charlotte crown on one side and then the shield on the other side.
Right.
But
So
it's a
when we go
coin.
down to Atlanta, it's like the Shield on one side and Atlanta on the other. Just
If someone
copy
could
and
collect all
paste.
of them and put them into an infinity gauntlet, that'd be sweet.
Yeah, there you go.
30
That
coins.
would be worth it.
Yeah. I'm sure
Yeah.
someone will do it. And if
Not
not,
me.
you should.
No way.
Yeah,
do
the funny thing though is, someone asked me, like, because we talked about like the Adidas thing all the time of like, we just don't like Adidas. Adidas kind of sucks. And I think it might have been Jennifer that asked me. She's like, well, why don't you like Adidas? And I was like, because I wear Nikes. I have no other issue against them. I've just always worn Nikes instead.
I used to wear Adidas. I used to wear Adidas only.
I was going to ask you, so why do you not like Adidas?
So, growing up in Colombia with the Colombian team, Adidas and Umbro were the main sponsors, and I used to only wear Adidas, but Adidas cleats would always tear or wear down like super easy. And I think it was like around my freshman I think it was my freshman or sophomore year when I was just like, I'm not buying any more Adidas cleats because they always tear. Like they always tore halfway through the season.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd end up having to tape them because I couldn't get new ones because that was my set for the season basically.
Yeah.
So I got some Kelmies, I got some Jomas, and eventually ended up on like some Nikes. But so yeah, I was like, I'm never going back to. When then Ronaldo and Ronaldinho came out,
Yeah,
And I was like, yeah, I'm all in on Nike instead.
that's pretty much the Ronaldinho thing got me. I think my first pair of like, legit cleats or whatever, were the Nike Total 90s that he wore for like that first season at Barcelona or second season at Barcelona. And then pretty much ever since then, Nike's only. I've dabbled in Adidas cleats before, and
Not worth it.
yeah, they're sometimes like a little too narrow, or
That's really what it was. It was like, I guess I have a wide foot, but they would always tear towards the toe line. And I was just like, these freaking cleats. And it'd always be like the World Cup ones or something like that. And they would just tear. So I was like, never again.
Yeah.
I have a couple of jerseys that have, well, mainly the Columbia jerseys that have like Adidas on them, but I don't wear them often. And those are jerseys. It's not the same as shoes.
Yeah. No, I feel like even Adidas clothes doesn't fit as good as Nike. It's not as stretchy, basically. I need that stretch.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. League Cups beginning this month. Have the tab open, but does the tab tell me when we kick off our first game?
Yeah, so the first game's like
Okay, July 21st.
July 21st, and our first opponent's actually Dallas. I guess we're playing over there. It's a 9 p.m. game.
Oh my!
You can
gosh.
catch all the games on MLS season on the Apple TV season pass.
All the games will be on there.
Yeah, all the games are gonna be out there.
Nice.
But for some reason, I was thinking that this tournament was gonna start at the beginning of July, not the end. But yeah, basically, in a nutshell, this league, like the Liga MX, which is the Mexican league, and the MLS are all pausing their season for like a not in between, but just this little cup. And it's like a World Cup style, group stage, and they move on to the rounds of 32, 16, and so on and so forth. And then that gets you a place in the CONCACAF tournament.
Yep, the CONCACAF Champions League, which I think is getting rebranded into something else, but I'm sure you'll still get put into it. There's actually 3 spots for it, so winner goes directly to the round of 16, which is crazy to me anyways, but I'm not really sure how the CONCACAF Champions League format is, but if it's anything like the UEFA one, which I'm sure it's not because of this qualification, but going straight into the round of 16 for the winner, that's pretty good. And then second place and third place earn qualification into it. And then I think winner of the MLS Cup also gets into it, so that's kind of interesting. The one format change in the Cup that I thought was pretty interesting, and if you are a fan of MLS Next Pro, you'll be pretty used to this, is that there is going to be no ties in this Cup match, even in the group stages. So each team gets 1 point if the game is tied after 90 minutes. After that, there's a penalty shootout for an additional point. And then if you win within the 90 minutes, you get 3 points like normal. But no ties, no draws, and penalty shootouts for that second point. What do you think of that format change?
I think it's definitely interesting. I don't know. We'll have to see like if this works out as far as. I mean, I'm sure they've already done the math because I want to say per group, there's only like 3 teams, from what I can gather. And I'm only seeing that because like Charlotte play Dallas, and then besides that, they also play Necaxa. And then looking at the schedule, it's the same for like Dallas and Necaxa. Like they only play those 2 other teams. So I'm assuming it's the best 2 move on.
Yeah, you're right.
So we'll see how the point kind of ends up, either being in favor of or not, or if it even works out. But like I said, I'm pretty sure they've already at least I hope so. They've done the math on this, and
God, that would be great if
this
they
works
didn't,
out.
Everyone's just tied on points. And
They
they're
just
like,
screwed
oh
it up.
no, yeah, we didn't think this would happen.
I mean, I would only think that that's probably why they did it, because there's only 3 teams per group.
Yeah. No, I'm sure it works. I'm trying to think of how it could, because the minimum one team is going to get is 2 points.
Right.
Yeah.
Or no points.
No, you're guaranteed a point if you tie, or no point. Yeah, like you said, if you
Yeah.
if you lose in regulation, no points.
Right.
But if every game is tied, but I don't know. I'm sure the math works out. Sure.
We'll see.
Yeah. But no, I like it. I mean, I've watched a couple of MLS Next Pro matches, probably like a third of Crown Legacy season I've watched. And it's cool, man, because like, sometimes in these regular season games that end in a tie, which we can talk about, it kind of feels like a little bit of a waste of time, or kind of like frustrating that it ends in a tie.
Yeah.
Especially if you outplayed another team or something, and then like this PK thing to get that extra point, it's kind of nice. Of like, all right, we got a little something out of that game as opposed to just nothing. It's interesting, I've liked that rule change, and again, like, this is an entertainment product more than anything, and penalty shootouts, like especially here in America, or in the United States, like that's what people love to see. Your casual fan like loves to see PKs. Like, I can't tell you how many people during the World Cup that I meet that are like, "Oh, I just watch for the PKs." I'm like, really? That's a lot to watch for like something that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, like I'm not a big fan of PKs. I can't stand them.
Yeah.
So much is left up to chance.
Yeah, right. But it's kind of like, again, like I like it when when in the situation of a tie, and you can still get a point. It's kind of nice that it does suck when your team gets knocked out because of PKs, because like you said, it's like, oh, it's just like basically 50-50. But it'll be an interesting shakeup to say the least.
Yeah, so I've been kind of looking forward to this tournament ever since MLS kicked off this season, just because I really want to see how MLS does in comparison to Liga MX teams.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a little bit when I was up in the mountains a couple of weeks ago when LAFC was playing Lyon, I want to say, and they were getting whooped.
Yeah, that's I haven't watched a whole lot of CONCACAF Champions League, and by a whole lot of I mean none. I haven't watched a single game. But whenever I'm on Twitter when a game is going on and kind of looking at the commentary on it, that does seem to be like the consensus is like MLS teams kind of get whooped in that tournament. And I feel like until recently, like with Seattle winning it, that's kind of been like not the norm of like
the expectation.
Yeah, like I think them winning it was a pretty big like surprise, at least from what I understood.
Yeah.
So yeah, it will be interesting to see. Because in my head, I kind of like put these leagues around the same like skill level, but I think we talked about this past weekend. I was watching some random match on TV, like two teams I'd never heard of, definitely Central or South American, but I wasn't even sure what league it was. It wasn't Liga MX either, because it wasn't like that big or anything. But the two teams playing, like, I only watched the second half, but that second half, like, it was faster pace and more technical than like any of the MLS matches we've watched. So it'll be interesting to see. I wonder if all the MLS teams get kind of blown away, I wonder if the commission will kind of like look at that and maybe change some of the roster rules and, maybe let teams spend a bit more or get more players in or something. I wonder if maybe this tournament could lead to that.
Maybe. I don't know. It's hard to tell because, I don't think like Liga MX has like a no cap, rules. Like you can just spend. I don't think they have as much money to spend either, but I don't think that they have just like an infinite well, like you can spend as much as you want.
Yeah, but is that team because of like league rules or just because the team don't have that much money,
I would think it's because of league rules.
Yeah, I'd have to look into that.
I don't know what's to say. Like some cartel guy doesn't just buy up a team and just beef them up.
Well, that's probably unwanted attention in this day and age.
True.
Like, where'd you guys get all this money from?
Winning cups.
Yeah.
Sponsors,
Yeah.
Apple TV contracts.
Listen, don't check our books, all right? Go away. No, but I mean, I do think, again, like just from the limited MLS experience we do have, and I think some change does need to be had around the rosters, even just having like upping the salary cap just so you can have more like players, not even like necessarily to pay more players, but just so you can have more depth, because that always seems to be an issue like for every team.
Yeah, more depth would definitely help out.
Because like anytime I see like a fan base tweet out or talk like that they've had like 2 or 3 injuries, it's like, oh my, like that's so like it's a big chunk of the team. Like there's no one to replace them, blah blah blah. As opposed to like, you know, some again like some of these European leagues, it's like you got 2 or 3 guys injured, there's plenty of depth to bring in, or they can, you know, call someone up from like their U23 team or something. There's just so many more ways around that issue. Where again, here in MLS, it just feels like the roster depth is just like so little comparatively.
Yeah. Do you think also maybe we just have a biased opinion on it? Because, like, we know our pool that we pick from if our main guys are injured, and that's, you know, the Crown Legacy guys, and we kind of know, like, their skill level, so it maybe just doesn't feel as up to par as MLS players are. So you think, like, whatever these guys are hurt and we have to draw from Crown Legacy, it's like, you know, you're taking a chance.
Yeah, you're definitely taking a chance. I would say Crown Legacy, though, is maybe not the best example because they're kind of just like whooping butt and dominating. And I feel like, at least from the matches I've watched of Crown Legacy, they are like a level above all the other MLS Next Pro teams, it feels like, except maybe like 1 or 2 who are like right at their level. But other than that, it feels like our Crown Legacy players are a bit better skill level than what that league is maybe aiming for.
Yeah, because some of those guys that came out of there, like Westwood, for example, has really shined.
You mean Cambridge?
Oh, yeah, Cambridge. I don't know. I keep saying Westwood.
Like we said last time, they do look a lot alike.
Yeah. But Cambridge, like, he's really stood out. I want to see him get more minutes.
Even Ajumeng lately.
Yeah, he's been getting close.
He's been tearing it up for Legacy, though. I think
Yeah,
scored
for Legacy,
like 4 or 5 in his last 3.
Yeah, but you've been watching more Legacy than I have. I've watched absolutely 0 Legacy.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think maybe we might just have a slight biased opinion. But I do agree with you also on just some of the lack of depth that we have to like choose from. Not just us, but like other teams as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can tell, like New York Red Bulls, for example, this year are just struggling with injuries and replacing those guys, and you know they're usually a team that is one of the better ones. They're hard to beat.
Yeah.
With the exception of this last match that we went up against them, you know they were just easy to beat so far this season.
Yeah. Well, we didn't beat them, but yeah.
But yeah, that's what I mean. Like up until this last match,
Yeah.
like I think we both discussed that we thought that was gonna be a hands down easy win. It started to look that way, but we just, in typical Charlotte fashion, just let them catch up.
Yep. We'll get to that here shortly. Last thing, just on that League Cup match, you know, you and I are going to the game on the 29th against Necaxa. Probably pronouncing it wrong.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, we got the tickets for that.
Oh, okay. Well, good to know.
The 29th, man, we're going. Do you expect a victory there, or do you think they're going to be a little bit above us?
I'm always going to be rooting for Charlotte, so yes, I expect a victory. And we know there's not going to be a tie. Sorry. We know there's not going to be a tie. So, no, yeah, I expect Charlotte to come away with a victory against both Necaxa and Dallas.
That Dallas game is going to be tough. Jesus Ferreira, the striker for Dallas, he's on fire
Is he?
right now. Back-to-back hat tricks for the U.S. national team.
Oh,
So
okay.
he's feeling it. I mean, he's doing
Yeah.
it against, Gold Cup countries, but still.
Oh, yeah.
Don't want to take too much away from him.
The one that is going to be interesting is, and only because of if he plays or not, the Cruz Azul and Miami game.
Oh, for Messi?
Yeah, we'll see if he plays or not. I don't think he'll play in this tournament, but we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. So last Messi thing though, just because I thought this was funny. Apparently the rumor was, or the story is, whenever the news came out that he signed for Miami, Sergio Aguero, who's I think pretty much best friends with Messi, called him and was like, "Oh, you joining Miami? You guys are in last place. Like, are you guys gonna make playoffs or whatever?" And the story goes that he laughed at first and then was like, "Yeah, man, we'll make playoffs, don't worry about it." But I think he laughed because he probably said, "What are playoffs?" He's like, "What do you mean? What's going on? What are you talking about?" But I don't know, I just thought that was pretty funny. I'm sure the league will bend a few rules so they get into playoffs.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure
They're gonna
it's going to be a good day for a ref if you're calling the Miami game.
I think even if they finish 10th, they'll just do like a surprise announcement of like a wild card placement for the two 10th place teams play each other and the winner goes into the playoffs, and then they just
there's
rig
going
that
to be
game.
some sort of wild controversy from a team that had made it, and they're like, "Oh, they can't make it now."
Yeah, they actually have a guy that's not supposed to be playing. He
Yeah.
failed a drug test.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, it'll be interesting. Did you see? And again, last thing, but did you see the kid that went to I think
Oh,
the
I saw
Miami
that.
Philadelphia game,
Uh-huh.
and he had a sign that was like, "I came."
Came all this way
Yeah.
to see the goat. He's on a
Yeah.
vacation.
Dude,
Yeah.
like, of course he's not playing yet, man. Like, he just finished like a year-long playing. Like,
That's
come on.
the
Come
guy that was like
on.
buying tickets as soon as he heard the announcement.
Yeah. I felt bad for the kid, but come on. Gotta use some common sense. All right, let's get into what this podcast is really about, recapping Charlotte FC matches. The first of which was the match against New York Red Bull. I believe it's been 2 weeks now since they played.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They traveled up to New York, and that was really the only thing that worried me about this game, was it being a road game and how hard it is to win on the road in the MLS. But they ended up with a 2-2 draw, and this game I thought was like the perfect illustration of what we talked about in the episode before, of not winning games or just tying games, and a lot of it being because of the back line or just defensive issues overall with the team, and the amount of pressure that the offense has to have to win these games. We had talked about in the last episode that they're averaging pretty much letting in 2 goals a game, and the offense is averaging like 1.5 goals a game. Maybe now it's up a little bit. But pretty much we talked about, like, if Charlotte FC want to win a game, they have to score 3 goals to kind of really put it away statistically. And that is, no matter for what team you are, that's difficult to do. And it sucks because I actually feel like the narrative around the team is being warped a little bit. I think a lot of, especially after this game, I felt like a lot of the stuff from the fans were saying, like, offense just needed to create more chances and we would have won or whatever. And obviously, yeah, if you get that 3rd goal, you win this game. But I feel like, if you're scoring 2 goals, you should have a pretty high probability to win anyways, especially 2 in the first half. So I feel like it's almost like, no, I mean, the offense created enough chances. Like, they created enough chances to get 2 goals. Like, that should be, in any other scenario, that should be pretty much enough. But this back line just cannot cannot keep a clean sheet to save its life. What did you think of the match?
Well, I watched the highlights basically. I didn't watch the whole game, but looking at the lineup, you got just looking at the starting four on the defensive is just tells me already trouble. I see Byrne out there, and then Miranda's kind of playing out of place. But Miranda usually plays on the right side, but then we got Corujo and Lindsay. So no Tulioma. He's not even on the bench. Doesn't look like.
I think he was at this was the international match that he was at. He was playing for New Zealand. So I don't think Swiderski was in this match either, right?
Yeah, you're right. Yep,
Yeah,
that's
that's
right.
when they were
Yeah.
on international duty.
Yeah, but it looks like Mora was back on the bench, so that's good. Because I thought he was out for the season. Then we also have Shabashinsky there. Yeah, I don't know, man. Just so far this season, anytime I see Byrne out there, I feel like we're exposed.
Yeah, you're definitely not the only one feeling that way. There's some other fans online that are not too happy with his performance.
Yeah, and I've ran into a couple of, when I'm out and about with my Charlotte jersey and people start talking about it and, I express my feelings about Byrne, and it's like you said, it's the same mutual thought. It's they're not impressed. They had a lot more high hopes for him, especially after last season. Last season he seemed okay, but he only played a couple of matches.
Yeah.
But just from his background, where he was coming from and what was expected to what he is delivering, it's not up to par at all. Then we had who was it? Jones was out on yellows, so we had to put in Bronico. Bronico did all right.
Yeah,
Bender,
I mean that's
really
kind of
stood
been
out.
the Bronico story this season.
Right?
Yeah, just he's gonna give you a solid 6 out of 10 performance at the minimum. He might have a pop-off game here and there, but
Yeah.
he's gonna be solid, but not a name that really jumps off the page.
Right. Yeah. Not too. He's just a good supporting player out there, which is fine.
Yeah.
You do need that. You can't all be superstars. Capetti back on the starting lineup, but again, just starting off real cold. And then Vargas, I think we both said it last time. He seems to play better on the left side, but that's clearly going to Maram. He's absolutely dominated that left side. So I don't see Vargas going back over there anytime soon. So he needs to get just used to playing on the right side and figuring out how to make it work from there.
How to control some of that power.
Yeah, not only that, but maybe just distribute the ball a little bit better.
Yeah.
But Byrne and Capetti, I was pretty disappointed with this game, especially Capetti missing that wide open goal.
Yeah, that was a shame. I thought that was gonna be a nice little highlight reel one.
Yeah. I don't know that I could have made that, but he gets paid to make those kind of shots, and I don't feel like he had a tremendous amount of pressure on him.
No,
he had some guys on him, but
that felt like that should have been pretty easy.
Right.
I know it's far, but not for those guys.
Yeah.
I think people would be surprised how accurate those guys can be from how far.
Yeah, exactly. I heard, or on the commentator side, I saw some sort of feedback where they were saying that Maram was calling for the ball and he was open, but it's from what I saw, it would have been somewhat of a backwards pass, and the defense would have been right on him. So I think he did the right thing as far as taking the shot, but I thought it was pretty sloppy that he missed.
Yeah, no, I agree. What'd you think of Corujo's performance coming back?
Corujo, he did good.
Yeah, same. I thought. No, we talked about it when he was getting ready to make his return. That I was definitely a little bit worried about. Was he going to return to the form where he left off, or was he going to return to kind of how he started his Charlotte FC career, which wasn't so hot and was sometimes a little bit reckless or sloppy? But this felt like exactly where he left off. Very strong in the back, good clean tackles, good distribution. His positioning I felt was pretty strong. Just was I didn't feel like he was ever really out of position or anything caused from him being out of position. This felt like exactly what people were, waiting for his comeback of like, yeah, bring him back, get him back on the field. He's going to be that solid center back. That being said, still let in 2 goals. The team did, right? So he's clearly not the just plug and play solution. But
Yeah.
he seems to be doing pretty well.
Yep.
Probably needs to dye his hair again, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Go
He
back
needs
to the
just
Super
dye his
Saiyan
hair
look.
again. Just dye it.
And then the other guy that I thought stuck out was Bender. I thought this was kind of like maybe his best performance we've seen so far.
So far,
And
yeah.
this performance, and I believe I even said this at the time, to me was like the next step in his talent progression. This game like showed a clear elevation in skill, and especially in his weaknesses. We've talked before, like Bender's got a lot of raw potential, but not the best first touch, not the best physicality.
Right.
Sometimes decision making is not great. But this game, especially that first goal, has showed like his first touch has improved a lot. The decision making of like making that run, touching it around the guy first, and then just hitting it, into the goal, like, and then his second goal as well. I think that was kind of like a bit of a reaction to just get to that and score. Just rewatching the highlights here, like just just seeing the tackle that Copetti's going to make and just following up on that ball.
Yeah.
I think it showed he has definitely leveled up since the beginning of the season, and it's going to be interesting where he fits in right now with Arfield coming in and everything we've talked about. But to me, this game was like kind of like a Bender coming out party.
Right, because usually it's Jones playing where not Bender, but where Bronico was currently at, which is that center defensive mid, and then Bronico taking Bender's spot. But now it's, you got Bender putting in goals. So makes me wonder just like what they're gonna do, and especially with this new guy. I'm curious if maybe they'll put him where Vargas is currently on the right side and keep Bender there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the other one I was going to say kind of stuck out for me. I know he let in 2 goals. But Kalina, that first pass to Bender, I mean, that's kind of like last season Kalina there, where you saw those laser beam passes.
Yeah. And that was kind of like the only, especially like right before he took over from Marks, that was really the only, like, to me, the only difference between the two guys was like his distribution is better than Marks. And I mean, you see what he can do, right, from time to time, like to find that pass and to make it. Like that is a rare trait in goalies. That being said, some of his actual shot stopping abilities have not looked the best to me so far.
Well, he blocked a couple of shots on this game. It's just like, it's a numbers game. Like I both said in the past, it's eventually some of them are going to go in. And I don't know if just like Charlotte just kind of let off the gas there on that second half or what, but it was just shot after shot for New York.
Yeah, it was.
Even after the equalizing goal, New York had, or Kalina had, I think, at least 2 other saves that I can recall after the second goal.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that second goal he should have stopped.
No, that second goal was hard. Like, that dude was right around the penalty box, like, right around the penalty marker, and that was a one-time hit there. It was, no way. Going back and looking at the highlights, he's right on the penalty marker.
It's so slow.
No, it's not.
It takes like 3 bounces before it gets to Kalina.
It's not the bounces. It's how hard the guy hits it and how close he is.
I think he could have stopped it.
I don't know. Not at all.
Even
looking at the highlights, even right after that, there's a header that Kalina stops.
I mean, it went like right to him.
Okay.
That wasn't the most like athletic stop in the world. But I see what you're saying. I just
And
feel
then
like
there
some
was
of
another
the,
one right after that too.
again, like right
No.
to him. No, he did come out for that one and cut the angle off. That one was good, but I don't know. He doesn't, to me, he just doesn't look as athletic and dynamic as he did last season. And I wonder if it's because of the back. But like, yeah, I don't know. His like, just
But last
actual.
season he was letting in some easy ones in too, especially the like near post.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like he's not like that great of an actual goalkeeper.
Well, you know,
And it's almost like
get what you pay for.
I think they pay him a lot. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. The one guy also we need to talk about is Gaines. Why does he keep coming in?
Why not? He had that really good through pass to what's his name?
Ajimeng?
Yeah, and he didn't. You're the one that's been praising him. He couldn't even score that close to the goal.
Dude, the
New York
goalkeeper
could.
blocked it.
Yeah, but New York scored it.
Yeah, because our goalkeeper didn't block it.
Mhm.
Exactly my point. He should have blocked it. No, yeah, Ajimeng should have hit it with his right foot, but I don't know if he's left-footed or what. But he's also a rookie. Like, he'll learn from that. He'll learn.
I think Gaines is good coming in off the bench when those guys are tired. He seems to really provide like his best games, taking over that spot.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's better guys on the bench that could come in, but that's not why they pay me the big bucks.
That's right.
We'll see. I don't know. I feel like he does do like one thing every time he comes in. Like the match before, he had that like late tackle to stop something, and then this match he had that through ball. But it's like, I don't know. It's only one thing every time, and it's never like near the goal or to get a goal.
I think if you're
I mean, I guess it's through
looking
ball
if you're
kind of
looking
is.
for the negatives on somebody, you're definitely gonna find him.
Yeah.
You have to be kind of neutral on that. Like Bronico, like I've never been a fan of Bronico. Still not a fan of Bronico, but I can admit when he like helps throughout the match and when he's just completely neutral out there.
Yeah.
Same for Yazviak this season. Like beginning of this season, he was absolute trash, but he's picked up steam, and you know he deserves the starting spot that he gets when he gets it.
Yeah.
Like Vargas
once he's back
on
to
the right
being
side,
healthy.
I like Vargas. He's a good player, but on the right side, he's just trash. He plays too far out to the right, and he doesn't know how to distribute the ball.
Yeah. Once Yazviak's 100%, he'll probably take that spot over.
Yeah. But, you know, overall, I mean, even though it's a road tie, I was very disappointed in that one.
Yeah, especially after that first half performance. I mean,
Yeah,
they
not
just
only
totally
because of
dominated
that, but
first half.
yeah, it's just like Red Bulls, like everyone's been taking advantage of that. It's an easy win.
Well, that's not even something we brought up yet. They were the least scoring team in the conference. So
yeah, exactly.
I think, to let them have two is just ridiculous. Like,
Right.
how are you going to let the worst offense in your conference, like, put
Yeah.
two on you?
Not only two, but two, from behind.
Yeah.
Because, at that point, the team's already demoralized. So, just to let them do that's pretty bad. You could see it in their stands. I mean, that stadium is not even, it's maybe like a quarter of the way filled.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty empty.
Yeah. So,
well, at least they got a point, right?
Yeah, I guess, that's the good thing about it. They did get a point.
The unfortunate thing, though, is how tight the standings are.
Yeah, right now I think we're 2 points behind. Was it DC?
Yeah, we're at 24 and they're at 26. The only good thing is they have now played one more game than us, so we could jump them.
Yeah.
Yeah. That 8th, 9th, 10th spot is tight. Other than that, everything else is kind of pulling away.
Yeah. Capetti was another player that I thought he was going to take advantage of a weak team. I think this formation's not working out for him at all.
Yeah.
I still think he needs a second striker up there to draw some defenders from him. Looking back at that Bender goal, I think there was one, maybe two guys that were covering him.
On the first Bender goal?
Well, I guess going back and looking at both, but
I mean, the good thing is he set up that second one basically by tackling, making that tackle and winning the ball back.
He barely got that ball back though.
Yeah, but he got to it. I mean, he could have just not made that run. So that's been the one thing. He does run, which has been good. He runs a lot. Now, It's not the most efficient or useful at times, but he does put in a high work rate. But just doesn't always pay off.
Like last season, whenever Rios would be up there and he's just jogging to the
run.
defender. He didn't do anything.
That boy never ran.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Only scored from inside the box.
Yeah. And we can go ahead and just jump into the next game. I'm talking about Copetti. The tie against Montreal, 0-0 tie. That game.
That one was pretty close.
But it shouldn't have been.
We should have came out with at least 2 goals.
I was going to say, speaking of Copetti, he had that sitter. He just had to tap it in. And just totally whiffed it, and it was good service into him, wide open goal, easy opportunity, everything that people have been kind of saying he needs, right? He needs better service, he's not getting quality balls in the box, he's always double teamed. That first opportunity for him was exactly what people have been saying the type of service he needs, what he plays best out of, and he just totally botched it. And I think there was another one too where he could have shot it and had kind of a weird timing with Sergerski, and that game against Montreal to me kind of felt more of maybe he's just not quite as good as we thought, or I don't know. That one felt like it was more of a him issue than anything. You know what I mean? Yeah,
no, I totally agree. I don't know what he was thinking. It's right there, all the platter for him. Before the second half even finished, we should have been up by at least 1.
Yeah.
I don't see how you don't take advantage of that.
And it's funny because Montreal had a pretty similar opportunity right after, but Kalina stops that one. But the guy puts it on frame. It's because of a good Kalina save that it didn't go in. But Copetti just totally whiffs that ball.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, what did you think of the defensive backline for this game?
When I saw it on paper, I wasn't too excited about it. But after watching the match, I thought Tuliamba had a really good game at right back. Not only just defending, but also getting forward with the ball and supporting that right wing. I thought was good. Jones at center back, I didn't like at first, again on paper, but the way that the team was playing with him, whenever we had the ball, he kind of would shift from center back to center mid. And push up. I liked that. I thought that helped us a lot on the offensive side of the ball and keeping the ball. But it's just to me, it's just weird that we try to play that way because we are letting in so many goals, and it's usually from counterattacks that we do. So it's kind of weird that he's still trying to implement this season where a lot of guys go forward, out of 2 of your defenders are always going forward. In the case of Tulioma and Jones, when we have the ball, they're pushing up the field, and we're just leaving 2 guys back there. It just doesn't feel like the smartest decision when you have the worst goal difference or like letting in the most amount of goals in the
Yeah.
in the league.
No, I know what you
so
mean.
it's just kind of like a odd choice. But again, like I said, like on the offensive side of the ball, I liked it. I felt like it was helping out a lot. But
yeah, it seems like
at
we
what
had more
cost?
chances. Yeah. Yeah, it seemed just to like neutralize it.
This was
And
another.
it's funny that you say that about Tulioma because I felt the same way. I felt like I'm used to seeing him on the left side of the defensive line
Yeah.
and seeing him on the right side and then Lindsey on the left side. I said, this is just like completely experimental here.
Yeah, like
But
on
it
paper, it
seemed
seemed
to
like
work.
on paper, it seemed like a crazy decision of like just didn't make any sense. But yeah, I
Yeah,
thought it
it's
worked out really well. Maybe I don't think it worked out that well for Lindsey, because you can tell I think he is one dimensional on which foot he is. I think he's pretty much only right-footed. Because there was a moment, I can't remember if it was in the first half or second half, where he got into a really good spot on the offensive side of the ball, like pretty much in the other team's box. And I think it was on his left, and he just needed to kind of cross it in. And he just had to like cut the ball and put it on his right. And by the time he did all that, like a defender shut him down. And it was kind of like, if we would have had a like natural left footer there, that probably would have worked out better.
Yeah.
So I think the change wasn't the best for Lindsey, who I think has had a good string of games, but for Tulioma, I thought it paid off really well.
You think Awful might have done better on that side for this game?
Probably. Awful. I don't know why he's not getting more playing time. Maybe he has said something about it, because it doesn't make sense to me why he's been kind of dropped from that back line, because he has always seemed like the best part of our defense, especially getting forward and then recovering. He seems to be the only guy that can really do it well, or before this match was doing it really well. But yeah, probably he's got that experience too, but maybe that's why he put Lindsey in instead, right, to start building him up. So who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Get that experience in him. But again, oddly, it kind of seems to have worked. I mean, we didn't let in any goals, and offensively, I would say for most of the match, we seemed to dominate.
Yeah. We didn't.
I think on paper
at
it's
least a
more.
goal.
It was like more 50-50. And like you were just saying, like how we didn't get a goal, it's just absolute our guys not being there mentally, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Swiderski's like hitting balls right at the keeper. Capetti's scuffing it. The other one that we didn't talk about was Justin Miram. His like, I don't know if you saw it in the highlight package, but like he had that one-on-one with the keeper, and I don't know how he didn't score his either. Like he was just
Was this first half?
yeah.
Hold on.
Vargas had a really good shot from outside the box also.
I remember that one. That one kind of dipped later instead of sooner. If it would have dipped sooner, I think that would have been a great goal. But unfortunately, it didn't dip. I think
the 26th minute.
So going back to that Vargas, you think he should have passed it off to Capetti instead and try to get into a better position, or just let him have the shot?
Nah, I just let him have the shot. I mean, you saw what Capetti did earlier.
True, yeah.
It's like, it's all in the context of it, right? Like, if that guy's going to whip from that close, like, might as well take your shot.
Yeah, he seemed to have been closer anyways.
Yeah, I mean, he scraped the back of the net. Like you said, if it knuckles down half a second earlier, that's probably going in. But if you're watching the highlights at the 2-minute 28 mark, you'll see Justin Miram's attempt.
Oh yeah, I think he should have let it go a little sooner.
Yeah, and just gone for that other corner, right?
Well, yeah, the other corner. He goes
for like that near post, and I just feel like that's too tough of an angle.
The other corner, or just a one touch. Hard to say, I guess, when you're in there, but I mean, we've seen him where he's had worse angles, and he one touches those in.
Yeah.
So I think he could have done it. Though. Yeah, no, that was another one I was impressed by this game with Swiderski. He fought for every possession he had.
Yeah.
Um,
This game though was kind of like the other side of the issues at Charlotte, right? Where we finally
can't finish.
Yeah, and it's like not only that, but it's like finally the defense is playing well and the offense is also playing really well in terms of like creating chances, like creating shots on goal.
Yeah.
This is probably, I bet if you look at the stats, like this is probably one of our best games in terms of shots on goal and chances created. If I was gonna bet on it, and just no goals, like no one could score, and it was like, man, like this team just cannot get everything to click together.
Yeah, and Montreal had a few decent chances there as well.
Yeah.
I think stats wise and on the tables, these Charlotte and Montreal are very close.
Yeah, I believe they're
It's just
ninth or
unfortunate
10th.
we could have. Yeah, but this was a win we desperately needed.
Yeah.
Had we won this, we would have been sitting comfortably towards the very last place of the playoffs.
Yeah. Oh, I just
But
need to get that top
it's-
9.
Yeah, it's just weird how like Charlotte doesn't like they win. I mean, I guess every game is a must win, but it's like sometimes they win when we don't expect them to win, and it's like the obvious wins they can't pull it together.
Yeah. No, I
So-
agree.
Just doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense at all.
Anything else stick out to you for this game?
I'm trying to look through these highlights. We had it was just shot after shot. I mean, honestly, I think probably the key player that stood out really for this whole match was Montreal's goalkeeper.
Yeah, he made a lot of saves.
He made a lot of saves. Not that Kalina didn't, but like he made a lot of good saves.
Yeah.
A lot of good saves.
The if you're watching the highlights on YouTube through Charlotte FC's channel, the Mackenzie Gaines highlight at like 5 minutes and 40 seconds, like all you need to see of what he brings to the table. Just pushes it out wide, runs to it. Pushes it out wide, runs to it. And a good cross. Like, I mean, not
That was a good cross.
Like, again, he does one good thing every game he plays. That was a good cross. Swiderski probably should have scored, but it's just that's like the epitome of his game. Just
Yeah, but like what
get
is
10 feet in front of you and run at it.
like Westwood didn't really do anything, and he's still a very starter. And so is what's his name? Was Bronico start on this game? He was barely out there. Bender. So like all those guys are getting started minutes, but
All those guys
They
have
didn't-
scored a goal this season.
no. But we're talking about just this match. Though.
Yeah. No, it's just funny. Like that's just his skill set, you know. It's just
Yeah, like I said,
speed.
I think Latanzio has definitely figured out that little trick there, where like, bring him in when those defensive players are tired, and just let him outrun them basically.
Yeah, use that speed to his advantage.
Absolutely. I think Cambridge deserves. I think Cambridge would have probably been a better option than Vargas, or a good substitute.
See, I think Vargas had a really good game this game. He set Capetti up on that, like, he pressured that wayward pass, and then one touched it to Capetti, who I don't think was expecting it, and then kind of duffed it, and then
Yeah.
and then he had that shot before also. Like, I actually thought this was a pretty good game to kind of keep up the debate of, should it be Yazwiak or Vargas on that right side.
Right.
But we'll see. But speaking of Cambridge, though, like, it does feel like he played like really well, like beyond expectations, and then we just like haven't seen him again. Did he come on in this game? I actually don't even remember now.
I can't recall.
It feels like I I just need to see a foot race between him and Gaines, and that kind of whoever wins that foot race, like, because I feel like he's just as fast, but he can actually like dribble and cut inside and shoot. So I don't know. I feel like he's the better option, but maybe Gaines has more speed. I'm not sure, but
We'll see.
I don't know if you agree with this or not, but it does feel like guys will get a good run of games going, like 2 or 3 games, and then Latanzio would just not use them. And someone who I thought this might happen to next is Ajimeng. He's been coming in late for Kopetti or Swiderski at that striker spot, and I thought he'd been doing decently well, like getting into good positions, like threatening. He had that like breakaway at the end of the game that they called offsides, which was freaking garbage. And I think he almost had another breakaway that I think they said he fouled the last defender. So he was causing a lot of problems. And he was scored that tying header against Seattle, had the opportunity against New York Red Bulls. So he's been doing pretty well lately, and I'm just wondering if we're just suddenly not going to see him anymore, because it feels like that's happened to Cambridge. At times that's happened with Bender. Lindsay, that's happened to earlier this season, where he had like a couple good games and then just stopped playing. Mello had some good games and then got dropped down to Crown Legacy. So Bozinski's another player who like I thought has been doing pretty well and then just gets benched. I don't know. Just feels like Latanzio seems to do that. Do you feel the same way, or is it more of a?
No, yeah. I mean, it's not like Charlotte has. Well, in comparison to when was it? In comparison to May, when they had like 8 games that month, and they only had the 4 last month, but you would think that they would have a very consistent starting lineup, because they don't have that many games or that many. They don't have that many games going from one to the other. It's usually a week or a couple days. Now, like, we have one coming up on Wednesday, but that's hardly the case. Usually it's, every Saturday, so every 7 days. So you would think they have a consistency on the lineup, but it's, come game day, you're trying to figure out who they're going to start and who's going to be on the bench, because you never know.
Yeah.
And not only if they're going to start, but where they're going to start at. Is Jones going to play in the back line, or is he going to play defensive mid? Is Vargas going to be playing right, or is he going to be in the bench, or is it going to be Osviak? It's hard to say. Latanzio's still trying to, like that commercial says, just figure it out.
Yeah. The wealth management commercial.
Yeah.
Do I have the right game plan? Cut to Latanzio.
Yeah.
It's a bit of clever editing from whoever did that.
Yeah, I wonder if they knew what they were doing. But, that kind of just puts us back to our next match, which is coming up Wednesday against New York City, which, again, I feel like is a game we should win. New York started out good, but has consistently been dropping points, and now they're 1 spot below us. And again, this is a must-win for Charlotte if they want to, just get up there and secure a playoff spot. Where are we going? I think we're going away, right? Yeah, we're going away. So we'll see how they do, but I think Charlotte should win this game. We have a healthy squad. There's no international matches. And we've had a good bit of rest time between last game and this one. Did they play Saturday? No, right?
No, they didn't. So the team should be pretty fresh.
So, yeah, exactly. Fresh squad, full squad. In away games, I mean, we've had better luck playing away than we have at home.
Yeah.
So this should be a win for us.
Should be. Hopefully it is. Yeah, I think a lot of stuff is in our advantage, right? Again, just like being fresh, coming off a game where you had both sides of the ball clicking, just couldn't quite get it done. Like, it's frustrating, but there's a lot to build off of that. And I believe this will. Scott Arfield is eligible to play when the transfer window opens, which is July 5th. So I think he'll be eligible to play in this game. I wonder if Latanzio will use him. If not, but if Latanzio does use him, we've had a good little trend of new players like making an impact right away. Looking at Maram, I guess he's kind of the only one.
Yeah, I think
but
so.
hopefully that trend continues and Arfield could have a positive impact right away.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where this new guy, whose spot he takes, basically.
Yeah, that will be interesting to see. All right, let's wrap this bad boy up. We have been rambling for long enough.
Way too long.
Yeah, it's a bit of a long one, but we had a lot to cover. So if you enjoy the episode, please share it with a friend. That helps us out a lot. And don't forget to leave a review on whatever podcast platform you listen to. If you're listening to on Apple Podcasts and you leave a written review, we will do our best to read it out loud on the episode and give you a shout out. Also, if you want to interact with us during matches, we are on Twitter and Instagram at offsides_CLTFC. And we are also on YouTube. So if you're listening to this on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. And again, share it with a friend. All right, we will see you guys next week to recap another 2 matches against New York FC and Cincinnati.
Bye.
Wow, you got to love that.